gamer status quo. I'm your host, Christy, and here to join with us today is your local Utah Summoners, Rizwan Mohammed, Juno Kim, and Skylar Mulder. Today we'll be discussing about the League of Legends World Championship, but before we start that, here's this week's highlights.
Is the fight of the game.
The teleport is coming down for Smeb, and the dragon looks like it will get secured. Picked up by Fnatic, but Feathervin is forced away. Smeb will not find the kill, and Feathervin jumps in the pit. They've traded 80 carry for support, but Feathervin's down as well. Reckless needs to survive and tank. The shields are there, but there may not be enough. He's flashed out, and Kuro chases him. That's a triple, looking for more. Huni's getting run down, and Huni will not find anything. A quadra for Kuro, and that's the game.
What a game.
Callista ult also pops. We'll look for Mithy here. Trade of ulti knocks in Wolf. He can no longer be saved. There's the headbutt into Tristana. Wolf cannot survive. That will still kill him. Mithy is going to push forward. So will Neil. So as is in. Pops the ult. Lands a stun on a Bangi. The collapse is there. The Chaos Storm won't reach. But Amazing goes in. Easy room to turn it back around. The turret will get the kill. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Origin. An easy pickup there. Blue Elixir even there for more structure damage. Amazing gets caught, dies during the knockup. Bang is on a rampage, and inhibitor number 2 and inhibitor number 3 gonna be going down. Wolf and Bangi in pursuit. Peke goes down. The fight resumes 3v5. Soaz can't even kill off EasyHoon. He's got more shields than health bars, and everyone's dying. Neil's the only man alive. This will be the game. SK Telecom T1 are undefeated still in the World Championship. And they're 1 game of 3 in the way to the finals.
So we've had some pretty good games this week, but was this what you guys were expecting? I mean, SKT and KU did go at 3-0.
Yeah, so I was expecting going in to see both the Korean teams make it out of the semifinal. SKT has been looking amazing all tournament. I don't think they've dropped a game yet, and I didn't expect them to. And then KU had a really strong showing against KT, and I really did expect them to beat Fnatic. I expected that one to be 3-1 though. Fnatic has been performing quite well at Worlds so far, so I did expect a little bit more from them.
Going along with that, I was expecting SKT to go 3-0, but I was surprised at how close they were to be actually losing a game to Origin. The first game especially, even the second game, they were in both games SKT was down gold. Not too big, but a slight amount, which they haven't done for almost all their group stage matches and their quarterfinal matches. So they were that close to losing a game, but in the end, it was 3-0. It was the same thing for KU Tigers and Fnatic. For that one, I actually didn't know which way it would go. Fnatic was looking strong, and same with KU Tigers, but ultimately KU Tigers ended up 3-0. But even though they were 3-0, their first game and their second game, they were both very close. So it could have gone 3-2 either side if Fnatic just pulled it off a little more.
Overall, SKT were the favorites to win the tournament. They were making small mistakes that they shouldn't have been making against AHQ, and I knew that later on, if they were making these small mistakes against these lesser worse teams, they would probably make slightly more errors versus Origin, and that's kind of what they did. They gave up a lot of their turrets. I mean, they went from losing no tier 2s to losing all of their tier 2s, and that's something that I didn't expect to see, but overall, SKT definitely 3-0 was expected. The second game coming around, Fnatic versus KU. It's kind of, I didn't know who was going to win initially. Fnatic was looking extremely good coming in. I actually thought that they were going to do a little bit better than they did. It was all up to basically Rainover, and Rainover, he was doing a lot of work in the group stages.
The group stages.
Rainover played really well.
Yeah, he was doing awesome in the group stages, but he just couldn't bring it together in the semis. I thought that him and especially Feathervin getting caught out a couple times with that Zac, but that could have just been Hyojin playing really well. But overall, fantastic game though, because a lot of the times you were looking at Huni and you were looking at Feathervin. These guys were supposed to be the backbone of the team. Huni, for whatever reason, fell flat. We saw in the group stages that if you were to tilt Huni, you would have an easier chance to win. We saw that in the group stages, and they took advantage of that.
That might be because of how snowbally the top lane is these days. Because of picks like Fiora, Darius. If you give them one kill, then they get multiple kills. They get kills over and over. They deny you CS. They take your turrets. And so, like, now Huni is having to switch over to... he was already known for this, like, strong damage rolls up top lane. And we thought that Huni would do really good in top lane.
Well,
and
I'm sorry to cut you off here, but the thing with that is Huni was known for those.
Yeah.
But also, the person that comes to mind when you talk about carry top laners, as far as a world-class player, is Smeb. Smeb is, like, the known Korean top laner for playing these carry champions.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, like, Huni was a great top laner in comparison in EU. But now that it seems like he's getting a little bit outclassed.
Yes, I think Huni was completely outclassed by Smeb during this series, and it really did show overall through the set.
Well, overall, I mean, you guys got to compare the top laners because Huni is probably one of the better top laners in EU. Coming into that
in EU for sure.
Yeah, if you compare that to other lanes, compared to NA, compared to EU, we have bad top laners. That's just how it is. Dyrus was not playing well. Soaz not playing well. Huni not playing well. But then you look at the Korea side, you have Marin. Marin's amazing.
Smed.
Perfect. Smed also played very well as well. These guys are the carries for their teams. And, that's something that we're not seeing from these other regions.
Yeah.
All right, well, while we're on the topic of players, was there a specific player throughout Worlds that really shined this season for you guys?
Marin. For sure. Like, throughout the entire LCK season, it wasn't mostly about Marin. Marin has always been pretty consistent throughout the entire LCK, but he's really stepped it up once he entered this Worlds, and it's really amazing looking at him just getting these solo kills. It's like he's becoming like the Faker of top lane. Like, Faker has been known to make these plays and get solo kills in his own lane, and that's exactly what Marin's doing now. And now you have both Marin and Faker doing work in both of their lanes, and that's really what's like carrying SKT to victory.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Marin is definitely, I think a good way to put it is the Faker of top lane right now. Obviously, it's kind of hard to compare the two lanes as there's a lot of different things that go on. But if you were gonna just compare them to one, my pick for like players so far, it has been Bang. Bang has been absolutely consistent throughout the whole tournament. He started out the group stages with a 72 KDA, being the highest of any player, which is just like absurd. 72 KDA is just like a ridiculous number. I think he had something like one death throughout the entirety of the group stages. And he has just continued to position just impeccably throughout the entire tournament. So he's not playing safe, he's just playing smart and almost perfectly with his positioning.
Well, jumping to something more broader, this season everyone said that this would be NA's season. But unfortunately, we didn't do as good as we thought. So what did you guys think overall they did?
So I think everyone is still underestimating how well NA actually did. They're kind of selling NA short right now. C9 was expected to go 0-6 in their group. They won their first 3 games. Granted, they kind of cheesed it. They had one strategy, it worked really, really well, and then they didn't adapt the second week and ended up going 3-3. So that, that sucked, but they still performed way past expectations. That was our team that we were like, oh, they made it.
They were 6th place in NA, and then they made it through the gauntlet to get to...
Yeah. So I'm not that disappointed in Cloud9 overall, except for, they built up some like, oh my god, are they going to make it out? And then they kind of threw it away.
Yeah.
With the shot calling mainly, that's what I was riding on, was the shot calling for NA teams, especially C9, that's High has always been a strong shot caller. That's what's won C9 games, is basically High telling these guys where to go, how to play. A lot of the times that he was playing, you saw these very risky calls that he would make and they would end up paying off. Yeah. And, a lot of the times I would have to say that NA got very lucky as well, especially during the pentakill that Balls got, The way that he lined up, he managed to hit 3 people with his Q, he managed to get his passive on all 3 of them and just set up the pentakill. I think there was a lot of luck involved in that.
I think a problem might be that NA lacks a very strong top laner, which is the meta right now. Dyrus, you can questionable top laner. Balls, questionable top laner. Zion Spartan, he kind of fell short too.
He was expected to be good.
He was expected to be good.
And he didn't perform very well at Worlds. He did not. However, can I just go ahead and talk about TSM here?
Yes. Okay.
Because everyone's ragging on TSM right now, right? And I have never understood why at this Worlds that they were getting so much hate. Because if you watch their games, they were playing very well. They played super solid until they reach 1 point in the game. And then they just throw it.
Yeah.
Like, they are so close to being a world-class team. A team that would be, like, in contention for the championships. But then they just, like, they have this point and they just get too scared to engage, to pull the trigger. And I think that has to come down to shot calling.
I think that's the same case with these Korean teams versus this EU team too in the semifinals, because Origin got so close to beating SKT. They were ahead. I think they were up 4 dragons. I don't exactly know what. It was either 4 dragons or Baron. And they were so close to beating SKT. But somewhere in the middle, they just lost the pressure that they were pulling out, while SKT never stopped it. I think somewhere along the line, Origin was like, oh, we did a really great play. Let's take a 2-minute break.
5-minute break.
Yeah, let's take a 2-minute break. But that 2-minute break was all SKT needed, because they were relentless with their pressure. They were looking for picks. They were always looking for picks. They were always pushing out lanes. Like, it was kind of sad to watch. It was the same against Fnatic versus Coup Tigers. Fnatic was up 5,000 gold at one point. 5,000. But Coup Tigers team fighting, I think, is just superior. And also, they just, after that team fight, they were still down gold, yet they did not let up pressure. Yeah. Which the EU team and the NA team seems to have a little trouble with. They seems to get in this lax phase, like a few times in a game, and that really kills them.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to put it, is that, because they will get those small advantages, but the difference between the NA and EU and the Korean teams is the Koreans just don't let their foot off the pedal. They just keep driving it in.
That's the thing, and I think it's about consistency. Like, and that's the difference that you see from a world class team versus the rest of these other teams, is that you see them making mistakes that that these teams shouldn't be making. Somebody's caught out of position. This is the thing with TSM. Like, TSM, you think that, you said that they were a world-class team.
I said they're so close.
So they're so close, and
close.
I disagree with that, actually. I think that, they are good individually. Bjergsen has to, hands down, their best player, He is their shot caller. He does tell them what to do. But I think he's the problem and he's lacking is that, you see that C9 has a strong shot caller, but you don't see that from TSM,
Yeah,
and if TSM made better, more decisive plays, then they might be able to get better. But then the problem that we see is that it's not just the shot calling, it's because a lot of the times you see Lustboy getting caught out, you see Wild Turtle getting caught out a lot, and that's what separates these teams.
So a lot of that does come from shot calling, though, is when you're not doing something concise as a team, you go around trying to get wards or trying to do something else, and you get caught out because you're not doing something. So the team's having this shot calling problem that's causing them to have a lapse of time where they actually have a plan, and that's what causes people to get caught out. When there's a lack of a plan, lack of something happening, that's when players go out and they end up getting caught out because they're they don't know what they should be doing right then, so they're just doing something and it gets them caught. And it all really just comes down to communication. It's just no matter what it is, even if it's not just shot calling in general, it all comes down to how the team is talking to each other.
And we can see this a lot better in some teams than others.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell when the communication is not there.
Well, for the last question, do you guys have any predictions of who's gonna win?
SKT 3-0.
SKT 3-0.
SKT 3-0.
SKT.
Are you gonna give 2 a game?
They might. I don't know. They are looking pretty good.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they took a game.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But if I'm going to predict, I would definitely say SKT 3-0.
Realistically, Ku will probably take a game, but I'm predicting the 3-0.
That's realistic?
That's a realistic.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, it's realistic. I could see it happen, but
I'm expecting the 3-0.
I want a 3-0. I like SKT a lot. I've been on that hype train since Season 3. And I do like SKT way better than Coup Tiger. So I want them to go 3-0, but at the same time, it'll be kind of sad to see another Worlds final
another
to go 3-0. So, and like EDG and LGD and SKT too, these were the S tier teams who were supposed to take the Worlds.
Right.
And LGD didn't make it out group phases. EDG couldn't take quarters, couldn't enter semis, and I don't think EDG performed in the S tier rank. I believe
No.
I don't even think they performed in the A tier rank, right? So if you consider that, then SKT probably had one of the easiest brackets up to there.
Well, I mean, a lot of things that you're not taking into account is that a lot of these regions, they have very different strategies. The way that they play the game is very different from what they're used to, So when you see the Korean scene, you see EDG doing very well, you see LGD doing very well, This is based off of, the type of playstyle that they're used to. But when they come up with something different from different regions, you see a different type
And
of
everyone's
outcome.
still sleeping on AHQ. That team is actually very good.
They are-
you can't sleep on AHQ. They're a great team.
They almost beat SKT.
They had
from where they came in from at the very first world world championship. I think now it's a monumental difference, improvement. Fantastic to see these wild card teams doing well.
No, but what I'm saying is like Coup Tigers has been challenged throughout the entire tournament, but I feel like SKT hasn't really been per se challenged, right?
I don't think there's anyone to challenge them.
I don't think they will be.
They will be.
No, I don't think they will be.
They're on a different level. No teams can compare.
I don't
to them
think
right
there's
now.
any other team that would have been harder for them to play against. I don't think Fnatic would have been harder than OG. The only way it could have been harder is if they had to play KOO in the semifinals, which wouldn't make any sense because KOO's probably the second best team at Worlds.
True.
So I don't think that they've actually had an easier road by any means than anyone else. I just think any road they took would have been easy for them.
I agree with
That is a good point.
They're just on a different level.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap things up, but thanks for being here, you guys. I really appreciate you coming out here and being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It was fun.
Thanks for watching, everyone. This is Gamer Status Quo. See you guys next week.